Okay guys, here we are in the mock-up 50s style basement that I created. I've never been accused of being an interior decorator. But this is the original, just the basic model of the stove that I showcased you guys and that I basically showcased in the Kickstarter. I think it's high time that I just talk a little bit about the different elements of the stove that make it so versatile, because it is extremely versatile. Right here we just have the basic door. It has a slider damper and good on it. But one of the things that makes this stove so incredibly versatile is the fact that behind the door there's a 2-inch gap before the firebox. Now if I open the door, here I'll just open it instead of just pulling it off. You'll see here this 2-inch gap. That in and of itself just creates an element of diversity to this stove that is incredible, as I'll show you guys. So this one, you know, you can see the holes for the slider damper, and it's pretty basic and pretty simple. Well, I have another one, and let me show it to you real quick. Now, as you'll see in this one, I've got some heat-tempered, reinforced glass, some fire glass, so that you will be able to see the fire in the stove as it's burning. Because I had a lot of viewers that questioned me on that, and they said that it's a quality that they would like, and I get it. I totally get it. Just that burning flame and being able to see the orange light in the box behind. But now, in order to do that, now we don't have our damper holes up front here. And that's just fine. But that 2-inch gap is what allows for this. And I did that on purpose because also on the top of the door right here, you'll see there's a cleat. That cleat's there on purpose as well. I'm going to go ahead and open the door up here. And we'll look at this model and see what's different about it. You've got the glass up front that's going to allow you to see the fire in the firebox burning. And there we have our firebox. But instead of having the damper holes along here up front, well, in that 2-inch space we can put the holes there. And you just have to have a sheet metal box under it. And what I've done here is I've put together a butterfly valve. You can open and close and maintain the amount of air that you want coming through this, and it will control the amount of air that comes up through here and goes into the firebox while the stove is in operation. Now, if we look at the inside of this door, you can just see that glass, for cleaning purposes and whatever else, just slides in and drops in, and it can slide out as well. That's a pretty unique little function. It's there for a reason, because that makes this stove even more versatile and more unique. We can take this cleat right along the top here, pull the glass up and out, and what will that allow us to do? That will allow us to just drop a specially made feeder for a hopper for pellets, so that you can just at a 45-degree angle down right into the front of the stove, about 4 or 5 inches back, pellets will just feed themselves into a stainless steel grated pellet burner. You can just let the pellets feed themselves, and you won't even have to worry about loading it. Whenever you want, all you have to do is lift the hopper and the pellet feeder off, slide the glass back in, and you're back to burning wood. It's that 2 inches right there does a couple of things. It allows a barrier of fresh air in this whole system behind the door, so that the air that is sucked in this portal right here along the top, and is preheated before it goes into the vortex area will be fresh air, and it'll be oxygenated, and it'll keep any gases that didn't burn off in the gasification area in here. It'll let them flash off in the vortex area before going up the heat riser. So this thing burns extremely clean. I did a demo video out at Julie's place where I burned the prototype. Let's go ahead and explore a little bit of the other things that are very versatile about this stove. Okay, most rocket mass heaters that you see, they have a downdraft shroud, which they typically use a barrel for, and it's just open to the air. And so one of the problems people run into is while the stove is burning, there's so much radiant area there that it just gets the place way too hot before the mass ever gets heated up down here in the bench. Well, I've solved that for one by putting pea gravel around it to whatever level you want, depending on the size and the square footage of the area that you're trying to heat. But I've also put this mass containment apparatus around it. Now, if you put like 3/8 or 1/2 inch pea gravel in there, quite a bit of air will be able to move through that real easily. Also, all you have to do is go up to like 3/4 or 1 inch nominal gravel, and even more air could flow through it. And you might ask, what do you mean flow through it? Well, down under the mass containment apparatus, it has intake holes. And depending on what you want to do and how you want to run your stove, you could put more or less holes. And you just put a screen over them to contain the gravel. That will allow air to flow up through and radiate up through the gravel and out the top. Well, that's a pretty unique feature, guys. Because what that will allow us to do is we could very easily put this in a furnace room in any home, mount a ductwork around the top of this, and put an inline fan into it, and duct that heat right into a central heating system to augment whatever system they're using, and it could save people tons and tons of money. This stove is very versatile in the fact that you'll be able to run pellets off of it, and I'm not going to showcase the pellet hopper that hooks on this front cleat of the door when the glass is removed and just plops on and goes in. I'm not going to showcase it in this video. I want to do it all by itself, but I just kind of want to give you guys a sense of how versatile this stove could be. Not only could it be hooked into a central ducting system, also, guys, if you're in a really small place or you just have a hunting cabin and whatnot, and you're not interested in having a big thermal mass bench, you can get rid of all this and you can run it straight out. If you want to take auxiliary air from outside the space you're heating, say this was a house with a crawl space, you could just run some flexible duct over here down through a hole in the floor, or in this particular instance, you could take some flexible ductwork. You could even turn this box around and just run it straight out the back and up the wall, and put an additional hole into the aircrete window insert and take fresh air in from outside that way. I drew up a shroud if you are going to run it without a bench. Let me pull that out of the way. So, and there's plenty of people who in shop situation or hunting cabins who the mass around this mass containment system would be plenty because it's such a small area and whatnot. Hey guys, also there's places in real extreme cold weather situations where this pipe here may need to be insulated with aircrete as well. And that way you wouldn't even need that shroud around it because it wouldn't get that hot. There's places where it's 30, 40, 50 below zero for weeks at a time. I know, I lived up in the interior of Alaska for 4 years. Yeah, pretty much everywhere in the lower 48, you would get away without having that pipe insulated. But you may just want to. I actually have one drawn up. Let me pull it in. I'll take this pipe out. Let me pull the insulated pipe in, and you can just see it's just going to be a little bit bigger around because it's going to be double-walled aircrete insulated stovepipe. And there it is. So guys, as you can tell, this system can be very, very versatile. You can run with a bench, without a bench. You can run with an insulated or an uninsulated stovepipe coming out and have a really good control over the amount of heat that gets radiated off of the downdraft shroud, especially with this mass containment apparatus around the downdraft shroud. The fact that you can pull air up through the downdraft shroud and hook some duct work in here with an inline fan that runs it into a central heating system to augment whatever system you're using makes it very unique as well. In the book for the Kickstarter, all the different configurations are going to be included in the blueprints and plans and drawings, so you can set this stove up however you want to set it up. So just know that.